good afternoon. Man, we got some loud mics going on today. We're on steroids today at WMOQ.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Coming out of the gate swinging for the fences. Chastity, I'm a $1.82 today, so that's 1 pound down from Friday. So the diet is working, even though this weekend I came off the train tracks.
Yeah, you had a little pasta. I seen that Saturday night.
I did. So the diet started off really good Friday morning. I did. I told you I did the breakfast. We talked about that on Friday. I did the bacon. I did the eggs. I did the potatoes. Pretty simple. Skipped lunch. Can't screw that up when you skip lunch. You just don't eat. So then 4 o'clock comes around, and we were leaving for an event, and I remembered you guys had your spaghetti dinner fundraiser for the Special Olympics.
I'm so excited I got to see you guys.
What a great group.
It was a great surprise. Yes.
Well, you had tremendous support. The sheriff had texted me, and he said, hey, I'm going over to get a spaghetti dinner. And I thought, man, I've got time to sneak over and get a spaghetti dinner.
So glad you did.
I was so hungry.
Everybody was happy to see you and Liliana.
Well, I was happy to see everybody. What a great group you have there, and so proud of the fantastic job that everyone's doing. Y'all had a packed house at the church.
Yes. It's from 4. It goes from 4:30 to 4 to 7:30, and it's constant. So as soon as we open the door, there's people lined up. So it's a great fundraiser.
There's no doubt. It was a lot of fun, and the spaghetti was absolutely delicious. We had a blast. Great visiting with you guys. So Saturday, what was Saturday? Oh, went to a hockey game Saturday. So I did pretty good up until Saturday night, ate chicken fingers, and then, of course, yesterday was the Super Bowl, which I really didn't watch much of it, watch bits and pieces, but I did kind of pig out yesterday. So, $1.82, but today I'm back on track, eating smart.
There you go.
The goal, 179 by the end of the week. 179.
Okay.
See, when you see those numbers, it's just motivation. It makes you feel good, like you're actually doing something.
There you go. Okay.
Great show in store for us today. Ward Black, he is running for Georgia House 121. He will be calling in shortly. Brad Raffensperger, he's our current Secretary of State, running to be our next governor. And then at 1 o'clock, our very own Charlie Morgan is going to sit down with me, and we're going to rehash what just took place with the Super Bowl, the crazy halftime show, this bizarre drama out west with the missing of Savannah Guthrie's mom. That's turning out to be just
bizarre.
Yeah, just a crazy story. But right now, I want to acknowledge a couple of WMOQ favorites. We lost a couple people over the weekend. The passing of Larry Witcher, better known as the Professor of Useless Knowledge, and Kurt Anders, who used to be with Julio on the morning show years ago. So our families and our prayers are with their families.
Awesome.
All right. Couple bizarre things going on in the world of this is I'm going to call this the world of fraud, which right now this is getting uncovered as we go. We saw what just took place in Minnesota, where they had uncovered a bunch of fraud that took place there, and I think that's just tip of the iceberg as it relates to this type of fraud, especially as it's being committed by people that maybe are not from this country. And I think other countries, I think they're immigrants that come here, want to go to work, they want to do good, they want to be part of the American project, they want to be part of the American dream, but unfortunately some come here and they want to be part of a scam. They want to be part of a fraud. They want to take advantage of taxpayers like you and I and our listeners and get rich off of that. So we had the deal in Minnesota. We know that's just one state and one example of fraud. They're going to find more in other states, unfortunately. Well, they uncovered a little one over in Massachusetts where you had a restaurant owner. The defendant is Raul Fernandez Vicioso. He's alleged to have run the El Primo restaurant and worked with 3 co-defendants to obtain benefits using the identities of over 100 victims. So they allegedly had captured SNAP benefit cash and then used it to, subsidize their restaurant. And so this is once again a micro example of people who have figured out that our welfare system is ripe for fraud. It's a real easy way to get your hands into the coffer, and you have access to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, because it is just open for abuse. Once again, in my opinion, this is where we need to absolutely button down the hatches and ensure that only those that truly need this type of help are getting this type of help. But furthermore, we need to limit as to what the help looks like.
Sure.
The help should not look like money given towards anybody. The help should look like purely as food given. And if I had my way, the way that EBT or SNAP would be run would be that if you are a hungry person and you're in need of nutrition and you have children that are hungry, you can go to a grocery store that accepts it and that you qualify for a specific limited amount of ingredients to either prepare or have a meal.
Yes.
As simple as that.
I agree.
You should not be able to access treats, sugary items, luxury foods. It should be staples to keep you full
Absolutely.
and to give you nourishment, and that's it. And then as far as the vendors are concerned, or the storefront operators who can redeem the SNAP credits and get their cash back, you have to govern that strictly, because that's where the fraud can come into.
Right. It's a shame. It
Yeah.
really is a shame, and it ruins it for people that really need it.
It does.
So,
It ruins, and it sickens those that are taxpayers that are disgusted with fraud, who are sick and tired.
Right.
Look, we already have income tax. We have state income tax,
Yes.
federal income tax. We have Social Security tax. We have Medicare. Then you got property tax, sales tax. I mean, the average American is taxed 10 ways to Sunday before they even spend one of their own dollars that they've worked hard to earn. And then when you find out those tax dollars
Right.
are being burnt up, it's absolutely frustrating and disgusting.
And how is it so easy to commit these fraud? There's so much money that's kind of being funneled in different directions. How is it so easy? Because they make the process really difficult for families that do need the benefits.
Right.
But then people that are taking advantage of the benefits, it seems like it's just an open door for them.
It doesn't. And for every one example that we hear like this, just imagine this, there's dozens of others that we haven't discovered yet.
Sure.
Right? There's dozens of others who are committing fraud, and they just haven't been caught yet. Hopefully they will continue to track this down and keep catching more people,
Yes.
because we're sick of it. Something else that I'm tired of too, this is another one, that there's now a little report came out by CNN that at least 9 senators, and this is both Republicans and Democrats, they disclosed stock transactions that they were actually involving companies that they were on committees for. So I would love to know from our listeners, are you sick and tired of hearing about those elected officials that are going to Washington, D.C., and then they get rich? Now, it's one thing if you go and you write a book and your book is a bestseller and you get rich. I guess I'm okay with that. It's another thing that if you go and you've got a storied career and your career is so fascinating that people are going to pay you to come and give speeches, I guess I'm okay with that. Some go there, they build a social media following to the hundreds of thousands, if not north of that, and they make money off that. Don't like it, but I guess I'm okay with that. Where I draw the line, what I'm sick of, is that they have access, they're privy to information that allows them to make purchases that benefit themselves. That's what we have to stop. And I think the average American is absolutely sick and tired of that as well.
Yes.
So you don't want to find out that a senator or a congressman is been given data, has been given information that tells them they either should buy or sell a specific company and that they can benefit from that. So that's what this story was about. And look, it's both sides. This is not just a Republican thing, not a Democrat thing. There's a handful on each side that have been doing this. And there's been an effort to curb this in, and recent polls show that there's overwhelming support for stricter ethics rules. Now, I'm not saying if you're an elected official in D.C. that you can't invest, but maybe do it something like, you can, maybe there's a firm like Fidelity has a fund that they can buy into, and that's it, right? There's 2 or 3 options of a fund, and that way it's not individual companies, so you're not picking winners, you're not picking losers, and I think that would maybe regain trust of the American public. And then one final note. So Ghislaine Maxwell, she intends to plead the Fifth Amendment over her questionings. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee is going to bring her in and question her, and she's going to plead the Fifth. How convenient is that?
Right.
Here you've destroyed. You had more than hands-on. You were the orchestrator in destroying the lives of dozens of young women.
It's a shame.
She's serving a 20-year federal prison sentence. Not enough, in my opinion.
Right.
Not enough. Should be a lifetime prison
Right.
sentence.
Yes. Agreed.
Maybe more. But how convenient is that she gets to go and elect? I'm just going to plead the Fifth, because this is an avenue where we can finally start getting some clarity as to who was truly involved.
Right.
She knows who these people were.
Absolutely. She was recruiting.
She
She had her hands deep in
recruiting
it.
on the victim side and facilitating
Yes,
for
both
the
sides.
criminals that were partaking in this. So I find it all too convenient that she can plead the Fifth, and just stuns me.
And I
But-
think she had her submarine license. which, you know,
Fill me in. That's news to me.
Submarine, like, you know, I guess apparently that was the way they did a lot of traveling to the island.
Like she drove a submarine?
She can drive a submarine, or, you know, I don't know if you consider that driving or float, or I don't know. She's got her license, though.
I'll have to ask my son, what do you call a submarine commander?
Right, there you go.
So she's had her submarine pilot license.
There you go.
That's crazy. Who knows what she was going to do with that? I learn something new every day. All right, you're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We're going to take a quick break. We will be back with Ward Black. Boy, that is a tongue twister right there. In just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
When it comes to tasty treats, the only place you need to be is Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Offering high-quality Georgia pecans, other nuts, dried fruits, coffees, and candies, Stone Mountain Pecan has it all. And the best part, it's all online at stonemountainpecan.com. Or take it all in person and visit their country store on Highway 78 in Monroe. Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Something for everyone. Eat well, be happy.
Clint Black on the Back on the Blacktop tour.
Walking in the moonlight, seeing nothing but the
Experience the country living legend, Clint Black.
I'm leaving here a better man.
Thursday, February 26th at the Classic Center Theater. Tickets are on sale now at ClassicCenter.com.
Saturday night, everything's right with the summer.
Clint Black, produced by Pepper Entertainment.
Is technology giving you a tough time at your home or business? Don't worry, Big Mountain Computers is here to help. We're your local tech experts, now open in Madison. Our white glove service ensures personalized solutions for all your IT needs. Hardware fixes, remote support, private lessons, and more. Visit us at Madison Plaza across from Ingalls or call 706-343-4184 to schedule your consultation. That's 706-343-4184. Big Mountain Computers, turning your mountains into molehills.
Covington Ford has something for everyone, from the power and comfort of a brand new F-150 to the family-friendly Explorer or the trail-ready Bronco. Covington Ford wants to be your #1 local Ford dealer by offering no haggle, below invoice pricing, and interest rates as low as 0% for 60 months. We believe your adventure should be limitless, not your coverage, so we're giving you a lifetime powertrain warranty on nearly all new Ford inventory. Come check us out in person or visit us online at covingtonford.net. Your next journey starts at Covington Ford.
And welcome back, Marc McMain. Our first guest of the day, Ward Black, running for Georgia House of Representatives, seat 121. Ward, how are you, sir?
Mark, great to be with you. Great to be back.
Yeah, good to have you back on the show. Did you watch the Super Bowl last night?
I did. Someone said, saw on Facebook yesterday night, it's like, someone want to come over and watch my house, my paint dry on my wall. It was that boring of a game, but you know, it is what it is.
You know, what's weird is that, and I'm going to talk about this in the second hour, is I could not find that on, I have Fubo and I couldn't find it on there. So I went to my mom's, I watched the first quarter, had dinner with her, and I just said, I think I'm done. Went home and I just did some chores. So it sounds like I did not miss much.
You didn't miss much.
Especially did you get to watch the halftime show? Did you watch Bad Bunny?
I watched the Turning Point show. My wife and I watched the Turning Point show.
I heard that was awesome.
Yeah, and it's good to see our Jackson County native Brantley Gilbert lead it off too. It was great to see it all. Yeah,
that is cool stuff. Definitely good stuff.
Yeah.
So Ward, let's start off. Tell our listeners a little bit about District 121, things that they might know,
Sure.
what it comprises of, and then of course your background.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for the chance to share a little bit about why I'm running. I'm running for State House District 120 in the State House of Representatives, and it has parts of 4 counties. And so very briefly, it's basically South and East Jackson County, Western Clark County, and then North and Northwestern Oconee, and a little bit into Barrow County over in the Statham area.
Did I say 121?
I don't know. Either way, it's 120.
Got it. Thanks for clarification. I apologize for the confusion.
It's okay.
Yeah, and tell our listeners about your background. Of course, your father, Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Georgia for many years. Did a fantastic job.
That's right. Thank you for that. And I'm a native of Jackson County, was educated there, and I have picked up a couple of degrees from the University of Georgia. I did not drive through campus to get one. I think I earned it, as an old Louis Grizzard joke once said. But stayed there. But my background's in business and agriculture. I run my own landscape and supply business where I'm a wholesale dealer for products you may use in your yard, from mulch to rock to pine straw even. And so I started that business after about a 15-year career in private business, working from family businesses to Fortune 500 companies. And I think that's what I bring to this race, and what I hope to bring to the legislature is some business sense of getting things done, and but also advocating for our conservative values and free market principles.
Do you think there was a benefit of having a front row seat to watching your dad not just, perform his duties as an elected official, but running a race, especially when it comes to a statewide race?
I think so. Well, to this race too, but beyond, Dad ran 3 times. He was commissioner for 12 years. But I've always been interested in politics my whole life. I mean, I was in school when he ran for office, but before then I'd always been interested in politics. It's just something I guess I was interested in as a student. And before he even ran, I had the opportunity to volunteer for anything, volunteer for candidates running for local county commissioning, to I guess Congressman Norwood was our congressman back then, and I just remember volunteering for him growing up. And so parts of that has helped, but at the end of the day, I think just learning from those leaders like Dad, but others, of just what it takes to be a leader in the Republican Party and to advocate for what we care about.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest, Ward Black, he's running for Georgia House 120. I errantly said 121 earlier. Forgive me on that. Ward, what are some of your core values, and let's say your philosophy as it comes? I don't want to say the word governing, but legislating. You're campaigning to fill big shoes with Houston Gaines. He was a very accomplished legislator. So how do you step into that?
Yeah, well, I think first it starts with our values, right? What do we care about as Republicans? What are we willing to fight for? I think it starts with being pro-life. I think it starts with protecting our Second Amendment rights. It starts with being coming at it with an understanding that I think the best way to handle our money and the money that the government has, is to put as much money back into our citizens' pockets as possible. And then with the government, with what is left over, we use that money to make a government that's efficient and effective for all of us. And so those are my values, and that's the lens I'm going to look at as a potential legislator, is how do we make the state of Georgia the most conservative? I'd love Georgia to be the most conservative state in the country on any measurable. I think there's so many magazines out there, right, that rank those ways, and we continue to be number one and to do business. But using those values, I want Georgia to be number one in education. I want Georgia to be number one in our infrastructure. And so I think there's still several areas of our state that we've got to keep fighting for our values to make our state better.
I think so, and when you compare our state to some of the far left states, let's use California as an example, who is now proposing this one-time tax. It's, I guess they call it like a high net worth tax on people who make over $1 billion, and they're going to have a mass exodus that's already begun of people that are industry leaders and job creators are leaving their state because that state is so fiscally it's run so poorly as it pertains to the fiscal responsibility. They just absolutely don't get it. And what I find interesting is they look at a state like Georgia, who we have been smart with our money. We're not perfect, but we've been smart with our money. Then they want to have their influence over here and start, especially California dollars that come here to influence elections. They want to come over here and they want to say in what we're doing in Georgia. So it's almost like a cancer. It's like, hey, we've destroyed California enough. Let's move on to other states and see if we can't screw it up there as well. And that's really what they do.
Well, and I think that's our expectation. That needs to be our minimum expectation for candidates running not only as Republican candidates, but running for office in general. And no matter what office, right, Mark? I mean, the legislature has the ability to, pass the budget and all those constitutionally mandated things, but also the laws that we pass to hold our values near and dear and make sure that we are protecting our rights and the rights of those that are the rights of the innocent, right?
Well, and the seat that
also,
you're running for it plays a major role in Georgia's lives, especially those in your backyard.
And I think, Mark, I mean, our no offense to others out there and other districts, but I think, I'm biased, but I think this particular state house district 120, and I think we represent the best of Georgia. We've got suburban areas, we've got inner city areas, we've got very rural areas with our farmers throughout the district. And so I think what's best for Georgia is what's best for this district, and vice versa. And so I think we're kind of this state house district has 65,000 people are roundabout that they represent right now. That's just what I think. Having the opportunity to represent the district is what can potentially make Georgia better, for sure.
Marc McMain, our guest, Ward Black, he's running for Georgia House 120. What are voters telling you, Ward, when you're out and you're campaigning? So whether you're going to the GOP meetings, if you're knocking doors, if you're doing like a meet and greet, what are you hearing? Give me maybe some of the top 2 or 3 things that keep bubbling to the top.
Yeah, well, I hope this I echo some of your other guests, but I think in Republican meetings, it starts and ends with election integrity. We have to make sure that our elections continue to be secure. And if there's any weak points, we have to shore them up because if we don't have that, then it's hard to really talk about anything else. Even lower taxes. I mean, it's hard to talk about lower taxes if we don't have secure elections, which I think some of our leaders have done a good job, but there's still, I think, a lot of questions unanswered moving forward. I think you're going to have Secretary Raffensperger next, right? About that.
Yeah.
So
in studio, yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Great. And so you mentioned the Republican Party meetings. I think that's the first answer, and then the second answer is the economy. How do we? It's Georgia is we're so blessed in Georgia to have so many industries. But how do we make sure that we have responsible growth? And it's not one size fits all. We're not chasing after large things, developments and all that would overshoot the infrastructure that we have in place. But how do we plan responsible for the next generation of Georgians to come and work and live and raise a family and all? And so all that goes with that of taxes, tax reform, and transportation reform, and how do we invest in our education? And so that's about 3 answers in one there, Mark. But I think those are a lot of the issues that we face in Georgia, and facing this district is what we face in Georgia.
We're currently in legislation right now. We're in session, and so this will end in a couple of months. And depending upon what gets passed, what gets pushed through, will determine the landscape for the 2027 legislative session. If is there anything that you're watching that you're like, man, if this doesn't get through, I want to champion this in round 2, or is there something that maybe is percolating to the top right now that you would like to share that would be an initiative for you come 2027 if elected?
Yeah, I think the tax reform proposals in both chambers are leading, up top of mind for everyone. I'm actually at the Capitol right now, stuck in the office to call you. I had a chance to have a couple of meetings here, so but I think the tax reform is top of mind, and I think we have two different opinions of how to attack that on income tax versus property tax generally, right?
Yeah, so the Senate is kind of proposing an income tax, and then the House is maybe looking at some property tax relief.
Right, property tax reforms. I think any type of tax reforms, any way we can lower taxes is a good idea, because it puts more people in business owners, but also our citizens' pockets, so they can spend it the best they see how, not the government telling them what to do. or the government keeping back so they can pick winners and losers in our state's economy. And so, to your question, what I would like to see is, we have the lowest overall tax burden across the country. That feeds into my goal of I want Georgia to be the most conservative state in the union. But with all these proposals that are floating out here, I want to make sure that we have the conversation as, do these proposals lower taxes? Period. They're not shifting moving cups around or moving the chairs around the table,
right,
so that we collect taxes another way. But I want to ask the question across the board: are we lowering taxes with all these proposals? And if we are, then great. If we're just moving the chairs around, then why are we even having these conversations?
I agree. I call it a shell game. Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah,
it's got to
exactly,
be genuine relief to Georgians who are hurting right now.
Right, and if we can pinpoint that those proposals are lowering taxes, awesome. Sign me up. But that's the legislative process, right? And so I think we're going to have to wait and see with how these proposals go through the legislative process and how it shakes out, to see what happens. And if they still work to be done on it, then I look forward to adding my 2 cents to it.
Ward Black, running for State House 120. Ward, I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds. How can people find out more about you, your campaign, if they want to join you, support you, and help you get elected?
Thank you, Mark. You can go on our website. It's votewardblack.com. You can go there and check up all of our endorsements and supports we picked up, but also some areas of policy. We talked about a lot of it already, but in more detail, you can go on my priorities page and look through some areas that I want to advocate for. We're pretty active on social media. It's the Vote Ward Black for State House on Facebook, and you can see all the activity that we're doing day to day. But thank you for having me on, and I ask for your supporters listening. If they're in the district, ask for your vote. And those I haven't met yet, looking forward to meeting and talking more about what we care about.
Ward, thank you for joining us, buddy. Please tell your father we said hello.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
All right. Ward Black, he's running for Georgia House 120. When we come back, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is in the studio with us. We're going to learn more about him and his campaign for governor. Don't go anywhere.
When you walk through the doors of Campton Restaurant, you're not just here for a meal, you're part of a tradition. I'm fourth generation owner Josh Parker, and for nearly 40 years, families in Walton County and surrounding areas have gathered around our tables to share stories, laughter, and good Southern cooking. From crispy fried chicken to heart-healthy daily specials, there's always a plate waiting with your name on it. We're open Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. So come on by, make yourself at home, and experience Campton Restaurant, where family tradition meets every meal.
These days, many think that truth is relative. You have your truth and I have mine. Speaking your truth means staying true to who you are. It may be how you feel, what you believe, or how you identify. Truth, by definition, means conforming to a fact. Two contradictory ideas can't both be true. One may be true, one wrong. Or both may be wrong, but they can't both be true. To say so is logical nonsense. So with all the fake news and opinions flying around, how can we know what's true? At Jesus' trial, Pilate cynically asked, "What is truth?" And Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." He's not claiming to be one truth, but the truth. Soon after Jesus spoke these words, he rose from the dead. That's enough to convince me that Jesus tells the truth. This is Bryant Wright, speaking right from my heart.
To subscribe to Devotions, visit rightfromtheheart.org.
Cassie Enterprises invites you to stop in and see their new line of Coyote brand tractors, UTVs, and Bad Boy zero-turn mowers. Coyote tractors have the power to handle any job. Working on the farm, landscape business, and more, Coyote tractors are dependable and ready to work for you. Sales, service, parts, and more. It's all available at Cassie Enterprises. Family owned and operated. 145 Highway 83 in Good Hope. Go to CassieTractor.com.
When it comes to tasty treats, the only place you need to be is Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Offering high-quality Georgia pecans, other nuts, dried fruits, coffees, and candies, Stone Mountain Pecan has it all. And the best part, it's all online at stonemountainpecan.com. Or take it all in person and visit their country store on Highway 78 in Monroe. Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Something for everyone. Eat well, be happy.
Clint Black on the Back on the Blacktop tour.
Walking in the moonlight, seeing nothing but the tail.
Experience the country living legend, Clint Black.
I'm leaving here a better man.
Thursday, February 26th at the Classic Center Theater. Tickets are on sale now at ClassicCenter.com.
Saturday night, everything's right with the summer coming.
Clint Black, produced by Pepper Entertainment.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, our next guest in studio, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, running to be our next governor. Secretary Raffensperger, thanks for joining us, sir.
It's great to be here.
I love it when people come out to the country and visit us here in Good Hope. So it makes us feel important, even though we're a little country station, we got a big voice.
Well, I don't know if you're important, but your voters are.
Amen.
They're
to
listening
that.
into this, and so I'm just grateful for this opportunity to get out here. But no, it's good to meet you. I actually know your brother, and so you always spoke really highly of you.
Yeah,
and
I got to have him on the show sometime.
You need to.
He's way smarter than I am, so he'd be fun to have on the show.
Well, he's also a great job creator.
He is, yeah. There's no doubt. He's been the leader of some fantastic companies, and so he's now kind of in that semi-retirement phase. But he's if there's anybody that can be more opinionated than me, it might be my brother. And so we'll have him as a guest sometime.
Sure.
I just got to be sure we don't have a dump button here, so I got to be sure that we have the FCC rules laid out.
Gotcha.
So Secretary Raffensperger, start off. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, or maybe those that don't know your backstory. What your career was and how you became Secretary of State.
Well, looking at, I guess, my career, I'm an structural engineer. I got my engineering degree in structures, and that's really what I was doing all my life. I got into the construction side of it. I had a specialty product, so I worked for a company that was a specialty contractor and ended up running the Atlanta office. A few years after doing that, really it was in the 80s, if you go back in time, and some people that are in their 50s and 60s will remember that, but we had high inflation coming off of Jimmy Carter, just like now we have high inflation coming off of Biden.
Right.
And so it was tough for us. So when we looking at this, we had one son, another son was on the way, and what can we do? And we kept on looking around, and we said, well, I need my job, but Trish had a degree in early childhood education, so we bought a daycare, existing business that had at 50% capacity, and she over another year and a half, once we did buy it, built it up to 133.
Wow. Okay.
And so that started really giving us a bit more margin in our life. But to be able to buy that, child care center, we sold the house we had in Duluth, downsized, and we bought a fixer-upper in Peachtree Corners. And the bank put a second mortgage on that fixer-upper, so we had enough money to actually do a close and buy this center. So when we closed, we had about $12,000 left in the bank, and every day was just working hard. So my night job then became, landscaping, painting, the building that hadn't been painted forever, and just, all the kind of repairs that takes when you're just young and broke. But Trish and I met in high school and got married when I was halfway through engineering school. And I tell that story, I smile, because it seems crazy. People don't seem to do that anymore, but it worked out for us.
But I love it. I love you burnt the candle at both ends for that opportunity, the American dream. And so that's I didn't know that. That's a great story.
And so I understand. First of all, when you own a child care center, you really see the economy, because all of a sudden you see your parent, that are sending their child there, their pain points, which is, well, I lost my job, and so we're going to pull our child out, or times are really tough. So we were always mindful of that. You can't raise things up, even though if our costs went up. How do you really control that? Because you're serving people. And so it was a great experience. Bottom line is, after about 3.5 years, I started my own business with a partner, and pretty much right away we ended up with first was a 10,000 square foot manufacturing plant in Columbus, doubled that as we continued to grow to 20,000, and then bought him out in 2000, and then I bought a building down in Columbus. It was 105,000, 106,000 square feet of manufacturing space. So I understand manufacturing.
Yeah.
And getting ahead of myself, but when President Trump says he wants to bring manufacturing back to America, I say, yes, sir.
Amen
And
to
we
that,
want to
yeah.
make sure it comes back to Georgia. And that's my key goal for what we want to do with Georgia. And then I end up with another manufacturing plant up in Forsyth County, about 95,000 square feet. So I was out there. I worked as an iron worker. That's how
That's fascinating, yeah.
you got to work hard.
Yeah.
And you see people, hard-working Georgians,
So
struggling.
great, strong entrepreneurial background, though. That's
Entrepreneurial, but also hard-working.
yeah.
You'll find out in life, if you show up on time and work hard, life will go your way. But it does take hard work. And that's what I really want to make sure as governor is that if you are a hard-working person, you show up every day, that you're getting a fair shake. And that's why we're going to need to make sure that we create more jobs in Georgia. So number one is, as your next governor, I want to make sure it's affordable. And we do that by making it affordable with a good-paying job and capping property taxes.
Marc McMain, our guest, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, running to be our next governor. Secretary Raffensperger, let me ask you this. What was your first foray into politics? I mean, I always tell people, I've always been politically aware, but I didn't become politically active until about 5 years ago. What was that venture point for you?
After around 2000, we had gotten through a lot of the situations. We ended up actually getting hit in our industry with tariffs, and that just about almost did us under. So it was really tough. I mean, we kind of worked through that, but I just saw how people up in D.C. can make these decisions and not understand what the repercussions are for us. And then they were talking about immigration amnesty. And say, hey guys, I'm in the construction business and I understand the dynamics of what our workforce looks like, but we need to have a lawful process, and we just can't allow to give amnesty to anyone. And so that was really frustrating me. But when you're running a business, I couldn't afford to go up to D.C.
Sure.
And I couldn't afford to be in the State House. So eventually I ran for city council because I said, could we make things a little bit better in our city? It was a new city. We had kind of separated out from Fulton County, so we now had a police force of 60 post-certified officers. We had a whole bunch of roads that we had never had any money. For the same amount of money that we're given to Fulton County, we ended up with a police force of 63 post-certified officers, a fire department, parks, and we actually ended up with some stoplights, and we started putting in sidewalks and widening the streets, all for the same amount of tax dollars. So my motto always was, we do more with less.
Yeah.
And when you are a small business owner, just like you have been, you figure out how do you make it work? How do you stretch your budget? Because you can't just charge your customers whatever you want. And politicians always want to just figure that they can pass it on, pass it down the line. And that's why we also need to cap property taxes. There's been some counties that have really been raising property taxes well beyond where we are with inflation. And it was based on house prices going up after Biden's inflation. And so I know that people's houses went from, say, $200,000 to $400,000.
Yep.
But imagine if you're a senior on fixed income, this year getting a 2.6% increase in Social Security, and your property tax bill is going up 15%.
You're priced out of your home. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's tough.
That's just really tough on seniors. So we have a whole program for that too.
Well, and going back, I tell everybody that if you are a successful small business owner, you are your very own Department of Government Efficiency, right? I mean, you have to be. You've got to be very smart, and I think that parlays into the political realm. So when you have somebody who has that strong small business background, especially when it's a small business growth experience, that parlays well into government. It really does. It's something that benefits. So what was the impetus to run for Secretary of State? When did that, or what was the idea of that when you said, okay, hey, I'm city council? Was there stepping stones to there? Or?
Well, then I ran for the State House, and I was able to do that because my middle son, was taking over more of the scope of work in the company. He had done a lot of odd jobs. When he was a teenager, he would be making shop drawing copies, making drawing reproductions. Another son was actually in charge of cleaning the office with his best buddy. So we always
family business.
We always made our kids work.
Yeah.
But Kyle just kept on, taking on more responsibility and doing a great job with it. So I could actually step out and serve in the General Assembly. And I will tell people, we sometimes get down on politicians, on D.C. ones, but in the General Assembly, we're getting it done because we have 40 days. 40 days to get a lot done, balance the budget, run a surplus if we can, and then how do we make Georgia a better place for our families? And so I really enjoyed that. So I had some bills that I got passed. One was for corporations that allow you to renew your corporation for up to 3 years. Why do you have to do it every year? Why don't we just do it every 3 years and just reduce some of that paperwork? And so we got that in place.
And I appreciate you doing that because I take advantage of that.
Yeah.
It's nice, 3 years, and I don't have to worry about renewing again. And I have several corporations, so it's a nice time saver.
And 25% of all business owners do that now. So we gave business owners the options of what they wanted, 1, 2, or 3 years. But also making sure we had strong on public safety. And so I actually had a bill to stop swatting and increase the penalties for that. And then that just happened a couple years ago. At least we had our bill in place. And so they're going to increase the penalties further, which I'm glad they did. Mine got watered down. I had really strong penalties. I'm a law and order kind of guy, but it was the first kind of toes in the water of swatting.
Well, and to clarify swatting, because not everybody knows what that is, it's kind of a new pandemic, if you will, where somebody will call the FBI or call the police department and say, hey, there's a robbery taking place or there's a kidnapping taking place at 123 Main Street. And they're doing that to be vindictive towards the owner of that house because now that house might get ambushed by a SWAT team who thinks there's a crime being committed.
Exactly. And if you're sleeping 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're knocking on your door, you don't know who it is. And so homeowners have been hurt by that and killed, but also law enforcement agents.
Dangerous.
It's a very dangerous situation. So it cuts both ways. So we need to put an end to that. So worked on a lot of different things. And then I ran for Secretary of State because the Secretary of State's office is a great place for a business owner, business background, because it touches corporations, and I've had several, still have a couple, and then also professional licensing. I'm a licensed civil engineer, I'm a licensed structural engineer, and I'm a licensed general contractor. Our largest group of license holders are nurses, and if you're going to have a license, then I want to make sure you get it quickly, and we do it, just really great customer service. We need to run government like a Chick-fil-A store.
That would be a dream come true. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, running to be your next governor of the great state of Georgia. One more question before we take a quick break, and I'll kind of tie this into two. I'm going to ask you, what were some of your biggest challenges as Secretary of State? And we can pull the 2020 election into that, because I know that was a very complicated time for all Georgians involved. So, what were some of those challenges that you faced in that time span?
Well, when I took office, the first thing we had to do, all the Republicans, I guess the Democrats too, but everyone was saying we need to get new voting machines because we had those old die bulge machines, no paper trail, and so we really needed a paper ballot. So the General Assembly passed House Bill 316, which said we wanted to have ballot marking device, and we want a printed ballot, and then we want additional audits. We also put in there, because I need to step everyone back to about 2014, 2015 is when this organization called New Georgia Project, Stacey Abrams, that is when she started her work in Georgia. And that's when the Secretary of State, Brian Kemp, and their General Counsel, Ryan Germany, started seeing their activity. And one of the things that we wanted to do with House Bill 316 is ban ballot harvesting, and we did. And boy, was that ever good that we put that in there, because when we had the 2020 election, and so many people now were voting absentee, we had already banned ballot harvesting. We modeled it right after Arizona's law, word for word, and it has withstood the scrutiny of the court. Brian Kemp is 2-0 with Stacey Abrams. I'm actually probably about 7-0 with Stacey Abrams in a court of law. Every time she would try something, we would meet her in court, and I beat her in court. And she's no longer in Georgia. She's up in D.C., working her hustle up there.
Well, and when she ran for governor, she would flood this state with West Coast money, right? I mean, a lot of her donors, and that holds true now even with Ossoff and everyone else, is that there's so much influence from, I call it the left coast, from the state of California. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but we hear the stories about this money's coming from out of state. It's frightening when you look at other states wanting to put their thumb on the scale right here in the state of Georgia. And that's what we don't want. We don't want their policies. We don't want their fiscal policies. And we don't want their social policies. That's for sure. And so I think they look at a state like Georgia and like, hey, you're doing it good there. We want to come mess it up. That's I don't know what it is, but that's how they operate. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We're going to take a quick break, continue our conversation with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Hold tight.
Since 1979, the Tim Stewart Funeral Home family has been caring for families in their time of need. The Tim Stewart family pledges to honor your loved one with excellence in service, compassion, and will guide you in making the right decisions. To learn more about the Tim Stewart Funeral Home family, stop in at one of their 3 locations in Monroe, Loganville, and Lawrenceville. Call 770-267-2594 or go to stewardfh.com.
Dreaming of the perfect backyard this summer? Hi, I'm Jason with Rosewood Luxury Pools. We design, build custom in-ground pools with timeless design and lasting quality. As a licensed general contractor, we handle every detail from concept to completion so you can just relax and enjoy the process. Summer's right around the corner. Let's get ready for your pool party. Give us a call at 678-635-7276 or look us up at rosewoodluxurypools.com.
Madison Flooring, located at 1167 Eatonton Road in Madison, is your full-service and professional installation center for all kinds of flooring, from tile, carpet, laminate, wood. They even do showers. They have granite and quartz countertops. All military, police, firefighters, and teachers ask for your discount. Madison Flooring is locally owned and operated. For knowledgeable and friendly service, call 706-431-5152.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
Welcome back. Marc McMain visiting with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger as he is now running for the governor of the great state of Georgia. Let me ask you this, Secretary Raffensperger. Why now? Why? What's the impetus to run for governor?
I'm the best candidate. If you look at my background, we just shared that. I know how to build a business. I know how to create jobs. And I'm running for governor to make Georgia affordable and make sure that it's a safe place to live. And we make it affordable by creating great paying jobs and capping property taxes. It's as simple as that, but not everyone can do it.
You know, you talked about your background as a successful small business owner. How do you think that your time as a statewide elected official has prepared you for this? Because you've had the front row seat of what's taken place, especially as it pertains to running the state of Georgia. You know, how do you think that that prepares you or gets you ready for this?
Well, first of all, when you become Secretary of State, instead of traveling in 7 or 8 different states where I did business-wise, it's really Georgia. So it really gets you to all the corners of the state. So things are a lot different in Bainbridge than they are up in, Hayhira or, pick other Lookout Mountain. You just pick different parts of the state. It just everyone has different needs and different requirements. The most important thing everyone needs is a good paying job. A good paying job solves so many of life's issues. And so I think if we create good paying jobs, and we're going to really do that by reinvesting, back into our people and making sure we have a workforce ready environment.
You talked about some of the things that'd be important to you as governor. What would you maybe want to tackle immediately? So if you're elected, what would be, let's call it a day one priority, if we can call it that would be front and center for you to sink your teeth into?
Jobs.
Good
paying jobs. Because as I've been traveling around the state, all over the state, and what I've noticed is even in counties where people are doing relatively well, you call them a boom town, a boom county, but still there's people there that have just kind of not really, I guess, hit their mark. Mm-hmm. But I've seen people, one lady in Henry County, she had gotten 3 raises since COVID. She said, Brad, it's just not enough, and I'm going to have to get a second job. And so you hear that, then I was, up there in Forsyth County, and another fellow, he had lost his job, been in marketing for about 25, 30 years, and here he is now working the cash register at a home improvement center. And now he's doing that because the man has pride. He has pride that he's not going to take a government handout, but he also knows that he has to continue looking for another job. But he needs a good paying job also. And so President Trump says he wants to bring manufacturing back to America. And I say, yes, let's bring it back to Georgia. And that'll be my focus, because it'll be reshoring, it'll be American companies that say we need to make more in America. And then if places like California want to tax all their billionaires out, well, some of those billionaires actually have good companies that we'd actually want to attract here. These are conservatives.
Yeah.
Not everyone out in California is liberal. There's, the conservatives probably leave first. And so we want to attract some of those folks with their companies here to Georgia. So more people have an opportunity to grow.
And Georgia is equally as beautiful as California. I've been to California enough to where I don't have to go there anymore. I think I've checked that box off. But yeah, we would welcome them, especially if they're leaders of industry that could bring their industry here and fantastic paying jobs. Let me ask you this, and I like that you shared some stories of people that you're coming across on the trail. What are you hearing from this? And I asked this to Ward in the earlier segment. I think it is so important when you're out and you're knocking doors, you're shaking hands, and you're doing your thing, especially for yourself on a statewide race. You mentioned it earlier. You're hearing voices from all four corners of the state, and no two voices are alike, whether it's in the rural, if it's in the mountainside, if it's in the cities. What are some of the things that you're hearing? And one of them that I'm going to queue up, which goes back to the Secretary of State side, do you feel that SB 202 secured the elections? Is that enough, or is there more that needs to be done so that people have confidence in our elections again?
Well, I made Georgia the most secure and safest place to vote in America. Now, don't take my word for it. Jonathan Turley on Fox News said, election 2024, that Georgia and Florida run the best election in the entire country. The Heritage Foundation actually gave us #1 ranking, tied with another state, after 2021. And so we have secured the vote. And the way I've done that in Georgia is we have photo ID for all forms of voting. We're the first state. I've got that into SB 202, that you need photo ID to vote absentee. Not just early, not just in person, but for also absentee. And by doing that, we primarily use our driver's license number. And that's really important. Our driver's license number are Real ID compliant. And we're one of the few states that have that. I have said that the feds and also the General Assembly, who's in session right now, needs to pass Real ID, because we do accept a few other forms of identification. And I don't think a power bill cuts it anymore.
Yeah,
if you need to have Real ID to get on an airplane, Real ID to get into a federal office building, we need Real ID.
Agreed.
So the feds need to do this because they have federal oversight of their elections, but also we need to do that in Georgia. That would just shore up public trust, but also security.
It was strange to see how the left went bananas when we passed SB 202, calling it maybe racist or unfair, whatever it may be. And you're right, when you use those examples, we just want to be sure that the right people who should be voting or eligible to vote can vote. That's all it was. And so I think it was the necessary steps to be sure that we have a good, safe election. And I'm still holding a grudge against MLB for them pulling the All-Star game over that. I mean, I don't know how they got a pass for that, but that was pretty foul what they put the state through in that moment.
It was, but we got it back.
We did. We won the World Series.
But we've gotten probably over 10 lawsuits from that case. Half of them were probably Stacey Abrams supported, and everyone we've won. In fact, we just won a case that was in the appeals court. We just won that about 3 weeks ago.
Interesting.
So that's how long it sometimes takes, but we've continued on. We also have citizenship verification, very strong, robust citizenship verification, because we partner with the Department of Driver Services. That's really important. The other thing that we've added since SB 202 was actually that all the results had to be reported so quickly. And so if you notice in the last election, for the very first time, we said all your early votes and all your absentee votes had to be reported 1 hour after the polls closed.
Yeah.
So by 8 o'clock, that's actually about 80% of our vote totals. We only vote absentee right now about 5 to 6%. Early voting, though, is 75%, so that's 80%. And then we have about 17 to 20% are voting on Election Day. But when you have 80% of the results by 8 o'clock, people know who's going to win the race.
Yeah, they have an idea.
I called Governor Kemp quite early on election night to tell him that President Trump had won and been elected here in Georgia for 2024. And so we knew that. You can go to bed, didn't have to stay up to 3 o'clock that they still do in Detroit.
Or drag out 3 and 4 days later, which is even worse. It's painful. Marc McMain, our guest, Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State. He's running to be the governor of the great state of Georgia. Secretary Raffensperger, let's talk about the importance of keeping Georgia a red state. There's multiple people running on the primary from the Republican side for this seat. We have to be sure that we get the right person that wins in November. because I think that'll have a trickle-down effect. So let's talk about the importance of that. Keeping the state red. Of course, I know from your perspective, you want to win this race, but this is there's so much outside influence to convert the state. Some call it purple, some saying they want to shift it blue. I think we're still a red state.
We are, but we obviously have shown how close it is. When I was reelected back in 2022, I had the largest winning percentage, and one of the candidates who's running for governor barely, passed by. Governor Kemp had the biggest winning number. He had 350,000. I had 300, plus. But also, as bad as Harris was as a candidate, she only lost by 120,000 votes, and that just shows you we are a competitive state. We are right of center, but we have to have the right candidate. And I think something to be said about competency and also integrity. I think people are looking for someone that's not in it for their personal benefit. Like I don't do any state contracts, never have. If we did anything with the state, it was because we were a supplier on some other project, but we never had the prime contract. We weren't out there doing anything. It was just minimal, if anything. And yet other people, that's where they feed at the government trough. So we're in this thing, Trish and I, she supports me, but our kids, they have their own businesses, they have their own lives. We're not trying to help our family. We're trying to help voters. We're trying to help taxpayers. I work for taxpayers because they're the ones that are paying all the freight. And if we don't respect how hard they work for their money and how much we should respect their dollars, because we want to stretch their dollars as far as we can to get as much done for the people of Georgia with every dollar that comes in.
Marc McMain Show, Secretary Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State of Georgia, running to be the next governor of this fantastic state. We got to be sure we get the right person in there. Secretary, I'm going to give you the last minute to kind of wrap up anything that you want to talk about, and especially tell our voters how they can get in touch with you, if they want to support you, if they want to get involved in the campaign, or maybe places that you'll be on the trail so they can come and meet you in person.
Great.
Yeah.
My website is bradforgeorgia.com. But I'm running for Georgia to make Georgia affordable and safe. And we make it affordable by creating great paying jobs and capping property taxes. I understand that it's tough out there, and when we create great paying jobs, it makes things different for everyone. And we make it safe to making sure we fully fund our law enforcement. Amen. We're not going to have anyone shutting down the interstates. We're not going to have anyone firebombing bulldozers when they're building a police training center. We're going to make sure that we have a fully equipped law enforcement agency, that law enforcement is well respected under my administration. That goes from local deputy sheriffs to obviously our state law enforcement agencies, and we'll work together to make sure that you have a safe community. I will double Governor Kemp's school safety grants from $50,000 to $100,000. We want to make sure that your kids are safe in their schools, so you're not worried about their safety. At the end of the day, it's about creating good paying jobs because you work hard. We want you to have a great future, and we're going to be investing in you because you are the people that really matter. You're the people that drive the bus. Politicians, they'll talk a good game, but I'm here for you. I've worked hard all my life, and I respect what you do because I know how tough it is out there right now.
Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger running to be your next governor. Look him up, learn more about him. I greatly appreciate you taking the moment to come in and visit this old country dirt road station out in the middle of nowhere, but I know a lot of voices heard you today, and so, or a lot of ears heard you, and it's a pleasure to have you here in person.
It's been fun, and it's been an honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, Charlie Morgan will be in studio with me, and we're going to dig through the Super Bowl halftime show and all of the kinds of oddities that took place over the weekend. Stick around.
Real country.
This is Q92.3, WMOQ FM, Bostwick, Monroe, Madison. Your home for real country.
Leadfoot Mulching and Grading offers land clearing, hauling of gravel and sand, and more. And now offering screen topsoil for the farmer or homeowner, asphalt paving, and more. No job is too big or small. Locally owned and operated, it's Leadfoot Mulching and Grading, serving all of North Georgia. Fair prices and great customer service. Phone 404-909-5227 or go to leadfootmulching.com.
This is Pastor Stephen Butler from Bible Baptist Church in Monroe with some good news for you today. Romans 15:13 says, "Now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." If your life is lacking joy, hope, and peace, may I suggest a spiritual checkup? What's your relationship with Jesus Christ like? Do you even have a personal relationship with Him? At Bible Baptist Church of Monroe, we would welcome you to come and visit with us. Regular services are held Sundays at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. On Wednesdays at 7, we have children's activities and youth group for all middle and high school students, along with an adult Bible study. We also have Bible studies on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Wednesday mornings that are open to anyone. Come visit with us at Bible Baptist Church, 1180 Old Monroe Madison Highway in Monroe, or online at BibleBapt.org. And please come be our guest.
Roll-Off Systems of Statham, they're on a roll. They offer dumpsters in all sizes, trash compactors, porta potties, and new combo cans. Existing sites are new building sites. Trash and waste disposal, it's their business. Locally owned and operated. Call Roll-Off Systems today. 770-725-ROLL. That's 770-725-ROLL. Or go to rolloffsystems.com.
Madison Flooring, located at 1167 Eatonton Road in Madison, is your full-service and professional installation center for all kinds of flooring, from tile, carpet, laminate, wood. They even do showers. They have granite and quartz countertops. All military, police, firefighters, and teachers ask for your discount. Madison Flooring is locally owned and operated. For knowledgeable and friendly service, call 706-431-5152.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
And welcome back, Marc McMain. I've got Charlie Morgan now in the studio with me. We're going to dig into some gossip. Charlie, how are you doing?
Oh, I am all about the tea. I love the tea.
Well, I figure what we do, let's go ahead and get the bunny out of the way, because that is on everybody's mind.
Yes.
It's been talk du jour for the whole weekend leading up to this show. Did you watch the bunny, or did you watch Turning Point?
I actually watched both. So on the big screen, we had the bunny, and my daughter loved that his name was Bunny. She's like, it doesn't look like that. And then
did he
also
wear a dress as...
He did not. No, he did not. He wore all white and like a white football jersey. So we had that on the big screen, and then my husband in the other room was streaming the Turning Point show. It was kind of giving me a little play-by-play, and I kind of jumped in there and saw a little bit of that.
I didn't get to see that either.
I thought it was great.
But how did you watch it? Was it an app, or was it?
He pulled it up on YouTube,
Okay.
I believe, because it was supposed to be on X, Twitter. X, that thing, but something happened and it couldn't. Everybody seemed to find it that was looking for it, so I don't think that was the problem. It was great. It had, it opened up with Brantley Gilbert, who is from Jefferson, big Georgia boy, love him. And then we had Gabby Barrett, you had Lee Rice, and then of course Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
So
He was the main show, right?
Yeah, like it was great, I thought.
Yeah.
Now I am probably in the minority. I didn't hate the Bad Bunny thing as much as I thought I would.
Okay. So he put on a good show.
Put on a great show. He put on a great show. Did I understand the lyrics? Not one. Not
so
one.
Did he sing in Spanish? Is that what he did?
He did. The whole thing was in Spanish. He had Ricky Martin.
Is he loco?
He is Puerto Rican. He's Puerto Rican. That's about
I like that tongue.
I have no idea where that came from.
Your R's.
It literally just happened. If you asked me to do it again, I probably couldn't. But so he had Ricky Martin did a little cameo, I guess you could say. So that was cool to see him. And then Lady Gaga actually did her song "Die with a Smile," which is with Bruno Mars. Did that in like a salsa version. if you will. It was because it's a slower tempo song, so had like a little bit of a dance mix to it. That was probably my favorite part because I know that song and I thought she did great. I'm a huge fan of hers and I just think she's so talented. Aesthetically and visually, it was phenomenal. I didn't understand the words, but I was not, maybe I'm in the minority, but I was not as offended as everyone made it out to
and
be.
I think I was thinking about this because what happens is, and we're going to talk about the cancel culture in just a second, but what happens is this, is people are sick and tired of artists and entertainers
shoving it
blabbing
down our
about
throats.
political. That's right.
Shoving it. It's not even like making
Yeah.
a stand. It's shoving it down, their beliefs down our throats.
Right. And so that's what we don't want. It's like
Mhm.
if we've hired you to be a singer, we want you to sing. If we've hired you to be an actor, we want you to act,
Mhm.
right? So if I've hired you to be a clown, I want you to come to my party and be a clown. That's it, right? Be a
right.
clown for the kids. Don't sit out in the parking lot and sit there and advocate for some political ideology. So that's where the sickness of this comes in.
Yes.
People don't want to hear that he's anti-ICE. They don't like Lady Gaga over her views. Appreciate them as artists, maybe.
Yes.
I don't like that type of music. But so this is kind of where I come in, is that I tell people be wary of the cancel culture because as conservatives, we do not want to be canceled, right?
Right.
If somebody finds out that you're a conservative and you do X, Y, and Z, you don't want to get fired. So let's say you cut grass for a living and you are a strong far-right conservative and you love President Trump and you love Governor Kemp, and the person that owns the home sees you have a Trump Kemp bumper sticker in your car and they say you're fired because even though you cut my grass well, I don't like your politics. That's
Right.
cancel culture,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We don't want that. Now, I fully support anybody who has, if they want to just bow out of buying a product because they don't believe in the ideology of the company, do what you want to do. There's a difference between the two. One of them is you just making a conscious decision to not do business with somebody because you don't agree with them.
Right.
Do you be you. The second, cancel culture means that you design a mob mentality to get that entity to change their way of thinking
To make yours.
to meet your way of thinking,
Right.
or to put them out of business. That's the cancel
That
culture.
is. It's toxic.
It's toxic.
on every level.
And so I tell people that if you just didn't want to watch Bad Bunny because of his ideology, that's fine. Great. I support you. I didn't want to watch him. I have no interest in him. I don't care what he's got to say, sing about. I have no interest in watching what he's got to say or sing about. But the cancel culture, here's where we've got to be careful crossing this line, Charlie, is I promise you we have artists on this station, Willie Nelson included, who have been vocally supportive of leftist ideology and against conservatives, that are you going to shut off listening to him? Right. So where do you cross that line? And I just tell people, be sure that we're being as consistent as we can. And
It's not consistent. I will say there was, this was Bush, but, bringing it back to country. Remember when the Dixie Chicks said they were ashamed to be from Texas because that's where Bush was from?
Right.
And people burned their CDs. Immediately, radio stations stopped playing them.
Right.
I mean, that was like the start of cancel culture before we even knew what cancel culture was.
Yep.
And I don't agree with it. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to buy them. I still have them. I still love the Dixie Chicks because I don't associate with their politics with their music. It's the same with Lady Gaga. I don't care who she votes for. I don't.
Right.
She can shove it down my throat all she wants. I'm not listening.
Yeah.
I listen to her music. I like her talent. That is what I'm there for.
And we just want him to shut up, right?
Yes.
It's like, hey, just sing.
Yes.
Just act. Just be a clown.
Just do your job.
Be
I
a
don't
jester
care.
in the king's court
Yes.
and entertain us. That's what we're hiring you to
And that's
do.
the thing is, I was not watching the Bad Bunny because I like his politics or I in any way support that. I was literally watching it for the entertainment
Right.
value of
I get it.
That is literally it. And it was entertaining. There was a lot of things. My 9-year-old was right beside me. Why are they doing that? Why are they dancing on poles and falling down? I'm like, honey, I don't know, but we're just watching.
I'm not going to cancel you for not canceling the bunny. So
Thank you.
It's a win-win-win.
I mean, he's not on my playlist. Like, I don't know anything really about him other than what I've learned about him over the last few weeks and that he is in the Adam Sandler Happy Gilmore 2 movie.
Oh,
That is the extent
That's
of
right.
what
I
I
forgot he was in
know
that.
about him.
Yeah.
And I don't intend on... I'm not a fan now
You're
because
not
I
going to run
saw
out
him.
and buy his
No,
CD. Do they even
no.
sell CDs anymore?
No, it's all
Chastity?
downloads.
Oh, okay.
No, but like it was entertainment for what it was. But what I didn't do was jump on Facebook and
bash
the bunny or bash Turning Point. Like, does anybody care what I have to say
I'm
or
so
what I
proud
watch?
of Turning Point for providing that alternate deal. That was brilliant.
I think that's
on their behalf.
yes, and I think that's what we're going to start seeing, because I don't think I truly believe the days of the NFL catering to us as conservative, as middle of America people is over. I think they are going for
the
Gen
wacko.
Z. Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
look, and we know because of what they allow their teams to do. So I do think you're going to see more alternative Super Bowl.
Here's
show.
what they owe us, Charlie. They owe us a good old-fashioned conservative country. Like if Charlie Daniels was still alive, Charlie Daniels, Hank Jr.
Yeah, we're not going to get that. You're going.
man.
This was the
us
first
that.
time we've had that kind of alternative there, and I think next year there will be even more of those because.
At a
there is
minimum,
lot
they're
of
marketing
us.
geniuses because here we are at 2 o'clock on a Monday or 1 o'clock on a Monday still talking
about
the
it.
show.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
brilliant. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan kicking around the Super Bowl and the halftime show yesterday. I'll say one more thing on the cancel culture, and I'm not picking on my dad, but just a conversation my dad and I had a couple years ago. If you remember when the NFL had the problem of players taking a knee during the national anthem,
yes,
that really offended a lot of veterans,
Yes.
rightfully so.
100%.
Guys like my dad, not a veteran, but just, old school conservative, say, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. And where I struggle with that is 99% of the players stood for the anthem, right? 99.9% of the players stood for the anthem and are good, good American, pro-American people. So I didn't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. But what I told my dad was this. I said, okay, look, if you're going to cancel the NFL because of them doing that, which, again, your choice. I'm not, do what you want to do. Go back to my methodology of being consistent. My dad liked Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Remember that show? Mm-hmm. Well, Game of Thrones, I think in the first season, had a head on a stake, and the head was a modeling after George W. Bush.
Oh.
So it was kind of them. Now, the producer said, oh, no, that was an accident. We didn't mean to do that. BS. This was a political message being sent at the time. And we know that there's strong leftist ideology within the organizations at HBO and beyond. And I told my dad, I said, oh, it's fine if you're going to do that. Because my dad liked Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Shut off Game of Thrones.
Right, same thing.
That's right. If you're using this as an example to shut off the NFL,
right,
shut off Game of Thrones.
The problem with the NFL was, you were right, 99% of them were standing. But it was the few were the big names and were out there, again, shoving it down your throat. Colin Kaepernick comes to mind. He was one of the ones that went way off the deep end about it.
And the leadership in the NFL did nothing to fix this.
No, if anything, they put him on a platform
That's right.
about it.
Yeah.
And then no team wanted him. He was toxic.
You had very few that actually stood up and said, hey, we need to stop this. And thank God it has ended. But, that was a difficult time. And so, look, it's people have their choices. They can walk with their pocketbooks. They're not going to spend money. If you're an artist, if you're an actor, and you are just dead set on spitting out your ideology, expect to pay the price because people don't have to pay for your services.
You don't. But I don't feel the need to grandstand about it either.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like, I'm not watching. Okay, good for you.
Sure.
But, I don't know. I don't get the grandstanding either.
We just got to be consistent. That's it. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan, Chastity. We'll be right back in just 1 second as we then talk about Savannah Guthrie's mama, who's still missing.
Oh, gosh.
So bizarre.
Crazy story.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
Hey, this is attorney Bart Bitton with Bitton & Bitton. I live and work right here in Monroe, Georgia, and I am proud to serve this area. If you've been hurt in a car accident, you don't need some out-of-town lawyer that treats you like a number. You deserve a local lawyer you can trust, someone who lives here, works here, and takes care of people. So remember this, if you're ever in a car accident, be smart, call Bart. Bitton & Bitton, local lawyers you can trust.
If you're selling or buying a home, you should call AMPM Septic to inspect your septic tank. This could save you on costly repairs. AMPM pumps your tank, fixes septic alarms, drain lines. They can fix any problem you're having with your septic tank. Call 770-231-7979. They do inspection letters. AMPM is family owned and operated, licensed and insured company. Call David for all your septic needs. 770-231-7979.
Looking for a deal on a new 2025 Ford F-150? Then come to last year's #1 retail volume Ford dealer in the nation, Akins Ford in Winder. Hi, this is Brad Akins, and through January 31st, take $15,000 off the MSRP on remaining 2025 Ford F-150 XLTs and Trimmers. Stock number 89625, MSRP 68758, with approved financing through Ford Credit and your 1995 renewer trade. Dealer retains factory rebates plus government fees. See dealer for details. Claim based on Ford's 2025 retail sales report. Visit us today at akinsford.com.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan. Let's talk about this crazy story out west with the Nancy Guthrie disappearance again. So, Charlie, I'm going to kind of let you tee it up for us because I did not follow Savannah Guthrie. So tell us again who she is, her claim to fame, and walk me through what you know, and I'll kind of throw in my little ideas.
So
we're going to solve this mystery today,
I feel very confident about it. So she is the host, one of the hosts on the Today Show. Very well liked, really cute. She does... she's a woman. I shouldn't say she's cute, but she's beautiful. She's just got a great personality. She's on like Good Morning America, that kind of thing. Her mom has gone missing. Now she lives in Tucson, Arizona. We'll say Arizona. I'm pretty sure it's Tucson.
Yep.
And was literally kidnapped. There have been talks of ransom notes because the three siblings, Savannah Guthrie, her brother, and her sister, have gone on videos trying to talk to the kidnappers, saying, "We want our mom back. Please show proof of
Appealing
life.
to them.
Yes, we will pay whatever." And over the weekend, well, specifically yesterday, it's really taken a weird turn. And this is where I don't know a lot about it because they haven't released a lot about it. But they were searching the sister's house again, which I find
this is
odd.
The sister of Savannah?
Savannah Guthrie, yes. Now, she was the last person to be seen with the mom. Apparently, that last Saturday night, or I guess 2 Saturdays ago, they had dinner, and then the mom went home. Around 1:45 in the morning, her Ring doorbell camera was disconnected. Around 2:30, a camera in the house detected intruder, but there was no
when
video
you say
of that.
disconnected, like physically disconnected, or somebody disconnected the internet connection?
The internet, or disconnected it internally, maybe, like maybe on the website, through the app, or on the website, something like that. Like not unplugged it. At least I don't believe that's what they've said. You do know what's going on. Yeah, no, I'm very interested in this.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating to me that I guess, and I'm sure law enforcement is looking into this, but why Savannah? Why her mom? It's not like she's not Robin Roberts. She's not George Stephanopoulos. She's not a national
She's
figure. Not, she works alongside Al Roker. She's not Al Roker. She's not Hoda Kotb. Like, she's known.
Yeah.
But why her mom? Why are we going after her mom and for a ransom? It just felt very odd to me. And so there was an intruder detected around like 2:45 in the morning, and then I think like at 3 o'clock, the app that the mother had connected to like her pacemaker was disconnected.
Which means she was separated from her phone.
So she was separated from her phone, and then that's been it. So it's just been very bizarre. I just can't figure out why her.
Well, I was with my mom when we were kind of watching this the other day, because think about this. This has been going on like 10 days now.
It's
right?
a long time.
It's been a long time.
And she needs medicine
that's
to
the
live.
That sucks.
And
yeah.
I don't have a good feeling about this. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't have a
we
good
were
feeling
kicking around ideas, and my mom had her theories, and then I had mine. And what I said was, my gut is you're going to find out it's somebody perhaps within the family that is estranged, maybe somebody that has an addiction issue, and is, again, this is just an amateur detective playing amateur detective. And to have a little bit of levity, my mom and I had a good joke, because my mom said, I can't imagine anyone kidnap an 85-year-old woman. My mom's 85, and I said, Mom, if they kidnapped you I said, you'd give them so much hell that they'd be calling me, offering me a ransom to take you back.
Take you back. It is, and that, your theory right there plays into my why. Why Savannah Guthrie's mom? Like, it's not like she had some big contract that just renewed and, she got some big payday.
But here's the thing. It has to be somebody who knows the relationship and how much she loves her mom and knows that was huge leverage. Because think about the risk. If you're just a kidnapper, right, and you were kidnapping somebody for ransom and you kidnap somebody's parents, you sometimes have situations where the parent is estranged from the kid or they don't have a good relationship.
Right.
And the kid will be like, hey, man, you did me a favor. Thank
Sure,
you.
yeah.
So typically that's why you hear kidnappers kidnap children because parents will die for their children.
100%.
Right? So it's strange on so many levels. And then, of course, all the ambiguity that's coming out. What are you hearing like on the law enforcement side, because I've heard some Monday morning quarterbacking on that as well. Does it look like they're doing a good job as far as the investigation is concerned?
I have no idea. I feel like they are. The fact that they announced that they are searching the sister's house again is cause for concern.
Yeah, right.
I think that's very, very odd. So there must be some there. I find it very hard to believe in 2026 no neighbor has any camera footage of what's going on. The way my Ring driveway camera, like we have like the floodlight
covers
camera,
a lot. Yeah.
I can see what's happening on the next cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So I just find it very odd, which makes me believe maybe there was a car there that is usually there and isn't cause for concern. I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much, but it just feels very odd. It feels like if you were going to and this goes back to my why, if you're going to kidnap someone's mother for ransom, why are we not going after like Tom Cruise's mom or something?
Yeah, some high.
I can't figure out why Savannah Guthrie's mom. So there has to be like a 3-degree separation. Like not even 6 degrees. Like it's got to be a
Well, you know what's sad
pool.
too is that, and I guess they're having all kinds of people now are sending in ransom demands,
Fake,
right?
yes,
You have these people that are imposters, and here's the problem with Bitcoin is I guess if orchestrated correctly, Bitcoin is untraceable, so it can be given to somebody. That's a problem right there because now I'm seeing, okay, this is going to open the door probably for more of these types of events.
For sure. And that's it's just a sign of times. But it's like when you have a tragedy and the family creates a GoFundMe and then they have to post 10 minutes later, don't go to this GoFundMe. This one's not the real one. Go to this one, because there's all these scammers.
Just horrible.
It's just, It's sad, and I want this feels like a movie to me. I want a conclusion, probably just as much as the family does.
Oh, there's going to be a movie on this. There's definitely going to be a movie on this. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan kicking around this idea of what's taking place with Savannah Guthrie. What's the mom's name? Nancy Guthrie. What's the sister's name? Do we know that? And so I thought it
Courtney
was
it's something Natalie. I
so
can't
it was
remember.
Nancy's daughter, Savannah's sister, is
Yes,
the one they're investigating.
is the one that they were looking at her house again. Yes.
Yeah. Right now they're saying there's no suspects, no persons of interest. They're just doing their research. But yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to land on something soon, because in today's day too, Charlie, with the technology like you talked about, your Ring doorbell, it's hard to get away. You can't even get away with a speeding ticket.
No, and there's
much less
like
a
flock
kidnapping.
cameras everywhere. The cameras that you don't even see, but are at like red lights. That's how
Yeah.
they catch a lot of people. That's how
That's
they catch
right.
a lot of people is with flock cameras. So the fact that there's absolutely nothing is weird, is a red flag to me. That no neighbor caught anything.
Well, and Charlie, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago about, I think we were just being random talking about the Clintons.
Yes.
There's some tie-ins with the Clintons with her mother. And
There's a friendship there.
there's some kind of...
Is her name going to pop up in the Epstein files?
No, I think that he was a...
Did I just...
You may crack the case.
Let me take off my tinfoil hat.
Yes,
but
but I have read, not to get rumors started, but I'm just doing some research myself and just kind of asking those same questions.
It just... Why is Savannah Guthrie's mom just so random?
Right.
I didn't even know who she was until you girls filled me in.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Of course, I don't watch much TV, but
Just odd.
Did you at least watch the game last night, Charlie?
I watched a little bit of... I gotta be honest. I went and got a massage. I've
you
had
even
a
know who
rough...
won?
Yes, I do know the Seahawks won. I was cheering for the Seahawks.
What was the score?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I fell
Cassie,
asleep
you
during the
I didn't
third.
watch it.
It was the third, and they were up was 19 to 6, I think, when I was falling asleep. And I feel like it was the third.
Close.
Maybe not.
Yeah, close.
Okay, yeah.
19 to 7.
Okay, see?
There you go.
Yeah. No, I went and got a massage. Like, I've had a long week, and I went and got a massage. I talked to you on my way back home from Athens last night, so yeah, I did not watch much.
I watched the first quarter, and that was about it. So it wasn't. So we got a few more minutes remaining in this segment. I want to talk about something kind of cool. I learned you are going to be the MC at the fashion show coming up. Tell us about this.
Yeah, Michelle Dickens was on, was it Friday?
It was
Thursday,
Friday.
talking about it.
Yep.
And it is for it's SANE, which is the Sexual Assault Nurses Examiners. So if, God forbid, something happens to you or a child, and you go to the hospital, they call SANE, and they have nurses and practitioners all over that will meet you at the hospital in the emergency room, and they kind of do their own thing as well to help with the prosecution side of things. And the things that they have to do, the things they deal with, they also testify in cases when it gets to that point. I mean, they are absolutely phenomenal. And this organization is headed up, the director, kind of creator, is Michelle. And I guess it was about 4 years ago she had this idea to do a fashion show called What They Were Wearing Fashion Show. And the whole idea of behind it, I hope I'm not repeating what she said,
No, yeah,
was because there was a case somewhere in Europe, I don't want to say exactly, but there's somewhere in Europe where the jury and judge basically said that this victim, the sexual assault victim, got what she deserved because she was wearing a skirt.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the whole point of this fashion show is it doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Right.
You can make a difference. You can be someone's hero. You can make a difference in the community. And it's a fun fashion show. It's a lot of the retailers around, like, they donate the clothes for the models to wear, and it's like, the latest fashion stuff. It's really cool stuff. And it is a rowdy, fun, good time. Like, there's a silent auction. Sheriff Hale gets in there.
I was going to say, it's a pretty star-studded lineup of models.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And I mean, you've got everyone from sheriffs to police chiefs to attorneys to GBI, FBI agents to nurses.
And there's a competitive
firemen.
Aspect to this, too.
Oh,
Whoever
for sure.
raises the most money, they're kind of declared the
winner.
the
Like
king,
the
winner.
MVP.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny. It's usually a race between the two people. Like last year, it was Hale and one of the nurses, Tanya, and it is such a good time. It's at South Main Brewery, which is at Wire Park in Watkinsville, and that'll be the second year that we've been there, and it's just a good night of raising money
go to that. That
for a
sounds like
great
fun.
cause.
I'm getting my tickets.
Yeah, get them through me.
I am.
Can I get them through you?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. All
Yep.
right, done
and
deal.
it is so much fun. It's a great night full of fun.
I'm excited you're the MC. It's going to be
it's
fun
so
to watch
fun.
you in action.
Back to
So
my old
excited.
stomping days.
Are you going, Chastity?
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
getting my tickets from Charlie.
Yes.
Okay, that's the way
Yeah,
to do it.
let me know.
You're listening
It's
to the
a
Marc
great
McMain show.
fundraiser.
Oh no, and what a great cause! It's something you can
Huge
really get
cause.
behind.
It's one of those things. It's like you hope you never have to need that, but the fact that it's there for
Yes.
people when they do need it is just
Yeah.
what
Priceless.
Yes. Yep. Big
You
supporter of that.
Stick around another segment.
Sure, why not?
Okay. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan, Chastity. We got a little more to dig into. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Are you looking for custom t-shirts, golf shirts, or uniforms for yourself or work? What about a family reunion, a fundraiser, or sports team? Whatever you're looking for, Chris and Debbie at Blue Hound in Monroe can help you. Real Country uses Blue Hound for our golf shirts and t-shirts. They do quality work and they're great folks. Blue Hound is located at 111 East Washington Street in Monroe. Go by and see what they can do for you or call 404-307-3664. That's 404-307-3664. Tell them April sent you.
Youngblood Tractor in Madison is proud to be your local Massey Ferguson dealer. Massey Ferguson has been building straightforward, dependable, and affordable tractors and farm equipment for 175 years. Massey Ferguson right now has the best lineup in their 175-year history, and there has never been a better time to upgrade to a Massey Ferguson tractor. Youngblood Tractor carries the complete lineup of Massey Ferguson tractors ranging from the 22.5 horsepower subcompact all the way up to the 130 horsepower mid-range utility tractor. And with one of the largest trailer inventories in the state, you'll always have a way to get it home. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete lineup of hay equipment, including the legendary Massey Ferguson 1840 square baler, as well as implements like rotary cutters, batwing cutters, box blades, grapples, pallet forks, and more. There are great financing promotions to take advantage of, so give us a call today at 706-342-2242. Youngblood Tractor also has experienced parts and service departments to take care of you after the sale. Visit us online at www.youngbloodtractor.com or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison.
Don't miss a huge discounts on new Fords and special financing rates for most qualified buyers going on now at Loganville Ford. Plus, see their great selection of pre-owned vehicles at their used car supercenter at discounted prices. Loganville Ford is your home for quick lane, offering service and tires for all makes and models. Open Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. 3460 Highway 78 in Loganville. Stop in or shop online at LoganvilleFord.com.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan, talking about a few different topics du jour, Charlie, over in Minnesota. You know, we had the big anti-ICE protest. They had 42 anti-ICE protesters arrested. They're starting to cross the lines. You know, nobody's learning from this experience. It is a rough time on the ICE agents who are trying to, you know, get rid of these criminal illegal aliens. Mm-hmm. What is starting to turn out, though, is we're finding out that some of these protesters are actually paid agitators.
That's the thing, and it's the weirdest. Remember when they had the George Floyd protest, mm-hmm. and it was just there, and then it started going everywhere. And I remember being in Atlanta, and it was like one of those things. And we were told they're peaceful protests, and they were burning buildings and businesses in Atlanta. But we're told it was a peaceful protest. And that's what you notice a lot about, even here in like Walton and Morgan County, when you have these protests and these people are arrested, you see the license plates as you drive. You know, they're not from here.
Well, and that's when you hear about the behavior that takes place at these incidences, and I guess this is where they were having a little memorial for the Renee Good and Alex Preddy, the two that were shot by agents, that the behavior is so vile. It's so violent. They're throwing things. They're kicking vehicles. They're doing things that the average person just would never do.
That's what I'm saying. And so when I hear that, I'm like, that just... I don't know anybody in Monroe that would go there to protest this.
Yeah.
Like that's or protest like that
like
in general.
That, right.
I can't
it's
imagine
one thing
that.
To carry a sign.
And
it's
then,
another thing to get physically active.
And then when you see the license plates and they're not even from here, like that's when it's like, you know, I have to go back to Mean Girls. She doesn't even go here. Like they're not from here. You're just starting stuff. And they have nothing to lose. You got George Soros from California bailing them out. Remember when Kamala started that little bail fund? Yes,
yep.
You have there's no consequence because that's what they're paid to do.
And I think they're even incentivized if they make the media. If they create such a scene and the media gets involved.
If they get TV time.
They get incentives, bonuses.
Well, check this out. So the demonstrators hurled lewd and provocative objects, as you can only imagine what they were. We don't have to list what they were. That in itself is creepy and weird. Footage showed dozens of arrests, state patrol and sheriff's deputies working to clear the area, but then some protesters had megaphones. So, you know, your average person doesn't own a megaphone, Charlie.
No,
just
I do
something
not.
as simple as that.
No, yeah. I wouldn't. I would be using my voice. Like, if I drove through a protest in Monroe, I would expect to see signs. I would expect to see jacked up trucks, you know, like living here in Walton County for at least 15 years, I know my community kind of thing.
That's right.
And when you see nicer cars and you know what doesn't fit in your area. You know what I'm saying?
But even when we've had those events here, because you've had some people that would protest for leftist causes here in the surrounding area, you don't hear of these stories of people getting violent.
Right, no. Like throwing lewd things has never happened before, but suddenly we have this international thing, or not international, but like this national story and a national protest here and all this stuff. So
it's international. It is. You're right.
It's just crazy to me.
It's beyond the borders.
A normal person in Georgia does not conduct themselves like that. Even if they are protesting, they're not throwing certain things at people, and they certainly don't have all these things unless you are a career
protester.
Well,
check out this next one. Many agitators were seen wearing gas masks. And again, I don't know about y'all, but I don't have my gas mask sitting next to my shoes, next to my hat, next to my gloves.
They probably keep it in their trunk of their car because they're literally driving from one city to another to just stir the pot.
You never know when it comes in handy. No. I guess. So there's a report now that warns that the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, may be advancing these narratives to undermine the U.S. institutions. Mm-hmm. And this is the frightening part, while aligning with interests of foreign governments. So what that means is that now you have not just potentially people like Soros, people who are leftist agitators funding this. What's even more frightening, Charlie, is that you have outside. So going back to the international side, you have countries like China. Like North Korea, Iran, countries that hate us.
Russia.
Are supporting them. Russia, that's right. So there's no proof of this yet, but this is something they're investigating, and they realize that there's other countries that want to destabilize, delegitimize our law enforcement.
There's a there.
Yeah,
for sure.
There absolutely is. That's kind of frightening to think about, that an outside country can get our people to act against our own government.
Well, they did this during the last two elections by just infiltrating social media all these fake accounts that were pushing out all this propaganda stuff that were eventually traced back to China and, places in Africa. It was not here that all this vile mudslinging was coming from. It was from the outside, because if we have chaos here, we're going to focus on it here. You're not going to be focused on what's happening around the world.
This report does not allege criminal wrongdoing, but I have to, there has to be something done that if you find out that a foreign entity is supporting financially a group of people to undermine our government, undermine our law enforcement, which then creates this extremely dangerous scenario like we're seeing unfold before our very eyes, where then you have people emboldened to go and do stupid stuff. You do stupid stuff, you have stupid results.
But where's the accountability?
That's right.
It used to be like the United Nations or something like that, and now we don't have any credibility with that. We don't have any trust in that.
No, and there's no, like Chastity said a second ago, you have entities that will come and bail these people out so they commit a crime, they get arrested for doing something, whether it's defacing public property, destroying a monument, kicking a police officer, whatever it may be. They go to jail for 7, 8, 10 hours, and next thing you know, they're back on the street and they're at it again.
No, I was speaking about the other countries. Like, there's no accountability with those.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I may have misspoke.
No, that's what I'm just saying. There has to be some level of accountability here. We have to start holding people accountable, that if you're behaving on behalf of a foreign nation, that you are now going to be subject to a crime. There's got to be something to do to be sure that we can't have this, because imagine the stress that we're putting on our law enforcement, not just our ICE agents who are fulfilling their duties as an agent, but law enforcement who is trying to either keep them safe, or now you have mayors that are trying to use the law enforcement as a pawn against the ICE agents, which is just, it's sickening.
It's deplorable.
Yeah, it really is. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. So there was an arrest. This is outside of the ICE stuff. There was an arrest just was this a couple days ago. They described this guy as a monster. The alleged murderer is a guy named Julius Burks, who was taken into custody Tuesday, so it was a week ago, after a manhunt. And his victim was a 30-year-old bartender. She actually owned the bar. So she was inside her bar in Illinois. And then just before noon on Monday, she was getting ready to open the bar. A guy came in, brandished a gun, demanded money, and then executed her. This wasn't like a runoff, let me shoot on the way out, which none of that's justified.
No.
It was just a blatant execution. So the surveillance videos show the suspect wearing a bright yellow jacket. He was arrested in Indiana as he's leaving his residence. This is... when you start to see the level of crime that's taken place in our country, we've always had evildoers and people doing terrible things. And in this situation here, you've got a 30-year-old woman who's a bar owner, entrepreneur, a mother, just trying to make a living. And I can tell you right now, bar owners up in the north don't make much money. It's a tough business to be in up there. And so when you see, and the reason I'm framing this whole deal like this, Charlie, is once again, this guy had a long background of crime. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a history.
You see it all the time.
That's right. I don't know how we keep letting these people back on the streets to harm our citizens.
We have the wrong judges. We have the wrong district attorneys in place. Not here, but in other places.
Yeah.
They don't believe in incarceration. They believe in rehabbing someone. Look, I love a good rainbow story. I love a good, he made his life, he turned his life around. Right. I want the fairy tale. I want to see it all. But that's not reality. Someone that's evil that does something like this, they're going to act again. So you could put them in jail for 20 years, then you let them out. Shocker, they did it again.
That's it. That's the problem is there's this blueprint that shows what somebody's going to do, and then they're letting them back loose.
Well, he might have changed, and there's a lot of people that will say, no, I've changed. I found the Lord. I've got a Bible here with me. That it's all for show to get what they want, and then they get back out and they do the same or even worse.
But if that's the case, and you're right, we've heard those stories. If that's the case, if you're in prison and you've come to meet Jesus and you've given your life to the Lord, God bless you, and then just do a ministry in prison.
Do it there.
Yeah.
Do it there. You have to pay your time, but you have these attorneys that is their MO. That is their business plan, is to go from jail to jail, county to county, find a couple of cases that they can get this guy exonerated or, get this guy out. Like, that's what they want to do. They're not looking for justice. They don't care. They're like, that guy was wrongly accused. We're going to fight to the death for him. And you have people that's their business plan.
I find it interesting. It's funny you said they'll fight to the death for him, because you're right. When you have a scenario where somebody has committed a crime and the crime justifies the death penalty, you'll have groups, anti-death penalty groups they'll march, fight, and beg to be sure that person is given amnesty. Oftentimes at the 11th hour, maybe a governor steps in and there's a reprieve. But I find it interesting that same group that will fight, that will beg, that will protest, that will march to defend a rapist murderer that's on death row is also the same person that will fight and march and do everything they can to be sure that babies can be aborted up to 9 months. It's weird. It's like there's no consistency.
No, it's self-serving. It's self-serving.
Yep.
It's I don't even know. I can't even wrap my head around it to play the devil's advocate here to try to defend what they're doing.
Right.
My comprehension level's not there. Like, I can't go that low.
It's just so frustrating to hear these repeat criminals getting a second chance
I just call
at
it
taking one of us out.
The Twilight Zone.
It is. Marc McMain, we'll take a quick break, come back, wrap up the show. I've got some more international stuff. You can go international with me, Charlie?
Let's do it.
All right. We'll be back in just a minute.
Covington Ford has something for everyone, from the power and comfort of a brand new F-150 to the family-friendly Explorer or the trail-ready Bronco. Covington Ford wants to be your #1 local Ford dealer by offering no haggle, below invoice pricing, and interest rates as low as 0% for 60 months. We believe your adventure should be limitless, not your coverage, so we're giving you a lifetime powertrain warranty on nearly all new Ford inventory. Come check us out in person or visit us online at covingtonford.net. Your next journey starts at Covington Ford.
Make sure your diesel is ready for every season by stopping in at Leadfoot Diesel. Their technicians have many years of combined experience to keep your Cummins, Power Stroke, and Duramax running the way it should. Plus, they can improve fuel mileage, perform upgrades, AC repair, and they offer tires, wheels, lift kits, and more. Diesel owners from all over the country trust Leadfoot Diesel, 320 Mayfield Drive in Monroe. Stop in or go to leadfootdiesel.com.
Hey, this is Doug.
And this is Robbie.
We own and operate Foy Tree Service.
When you need tree cutting, stump grinding, lot clearing, mulching, firewood, and more, call Foy Tree Service.
Serving Morgan County and surrounding area since 1987.
With top quality service and fair prices, we take pride in our work, and we do everything to make sure that you are a happy customer.
That's Foy Tree Service. Call us at 706-342-8733.
That's 706-342-TREE.
Miss Kitty's Antique Market in Monroe is having their huge New Year's sale. Stop by and check out all the best deals before they are gone. And many booths are now available. Miss Kitty's Antique Market, located at the corner of Spring Street and Millage Avenue in Monroe.
Welcome back, Marc McMain. Charlie, I've got some more international stuff now I wanted to talk about. So this is good news. Again, this is examples of President Trump delivering on what he promised when he was campaigning. Whether you like him or not, this guy is getting it done. And this one goes back to the 2012 Benghazi attack. And it's mind-blowing to think that was now 14 years ago.
I know. It doesn't feel like that long ago.
Yeah, it seems like it was just a few years ago. So it was 14 years ago. And one of the masterminds, or alleged masterminds, is a guy named Zubair al-Bakosh. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not excellent at pronouncing those. Give me a Hispanic name, I'll nail it. Give me something from the Middle East, and I'll butcher it. But so they got this guy, and he is now in U.S. custody. This goes to show that nobody's untouchable. If you've committed a crime against our country, we're going to find you.
As long as the right people stay in power. I mean, would this have happened if Hillary won?
Great question.
If Biden was here? I don't know. I don't know. I 100% am for, if you mess with our country, we're coming after you.
That's right.
That's part of the reason I love Bush so much is, and you think about that Toby Keith lyric, we'll put a boot in your butt, basically, was a nice way of saying it. But you got to have the right leadership in there, too.
You bring up an excellent point, because this took place under Obama's administration, and there's a lot to say, hey, he did not do what he was supposed to have done to hunt these people down. I mean, you had the Afghan botch withdrawal under Biden. No repercussions. Nobody goes and does anything. Then you had this, which was just a heartbreaking. It could have been avoided, or it could have been circumvented in so many different ways. So leave it to Trump and his administration to go in and follow through and get this thing done. There's going to be more to come on this. This wasn't just one guy. I think this is just tip of the iceberg as far as who gets pulled in and gets ultimately held or brought to justice. But I find it impressive that they're patient, they're determined, and they're competent.
They don't give up. Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about putting the right people in place, that's 101 when you have a major entity like what we had Brad Raffensperger here a second ago. When you have a large corporation like that, you're putting the right people in place. That's what President Trump is doing. He's putting people in place that can get the job done. And we're seeing the fruits of those efforts.
My husband calls it a send and delete. You send the email request, you delete it, that person is going to get done.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. You don't have to follow up. And that's what you got to have in the right place.
Well, and talk about some other effective stuff. So all the strikes that have been taking place in Latin America off the coast with us hitting these drug trafficking boats. Well, it's starting to take a toll. So right now you've had some in the Secretary of Defense Department come out and saying, hey, that top cartel drug traffickers in the U.S. Southern Command appear to have ceased all narcotics operations.
Wow. So we are making a huge dent.
Think about it. They're having a tough time finding employees.
Yeah. Who wants to go on a boat in the middle of the ocean knowing there's something flying over you?
Can you imagine what that poster looks like? Now hiring boat captain.
I've always wondered how they recruit for suicide bombers, if we're being honest. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you sign up for that. But what do I know?
I'm sure that right now is.
They're the meanest in that.
I don't understand. I don't know. I'm just a simple Georgia girl.
It's like
I don't
the
understand.
Tasmanian devil. It's like,
I
want that one.
Why would you sign up for that?
I don't know.
The unemployment line in Venezuela is huge when it comes to drug trafficking boat operators. And we make light of it. It's sad because these are people that are out trying to make a living, but what they're doing is they're trafficking in our death. I don't care how innocent you are. I don't care who it is and what the story is behind it. Well, we're trying to feed his family. Yeah, you're feeding your family by killing ours.
Well, and that's the thing is we say this about a lot of the people that are in jail now, and they're still running their drug circles, their gangs, or whatever from prison. It's like if you put all that effort and all your brain power into something good for society, can you imagine the difference you could make instead of you're getting 3 hots in a cot for the rest of your life?
And that applies to everything, Charlie. When you talk about just people running a normal scam here in the United States, if you look at the effort some of these people go through, like the story I read earlier at the beginning of the show, the guy with I guess it was a Hispanic foods place, and they were doing the scam with the EBT benefits. If you would have just taken that energy and put it into your business,
huge. You could have a business you could franchise, you could sell. Instead, you're
going to
3
jail.
hots in a cot.
That's right.
That's all you got.
Going to jail. So take a guess, girls. I'm going to throw a number at y'all. How many people since this initiative began, where they did the narco-terrorist strikes in the ocean, how many people do you think they've killed so far?
32.
150.
Oh, okay. Well, you had
Almost
it
said
sandwiched.
75.
128.
Oh.
It adds up quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It adds up quick.
I had no basis of guessing my number.
Yes, Charlie.
$1.
Yeah, you can't overbid. Well, you start doing that, you make a difference. When you have demonstrated that we are not, this is not a onesie twosie. We are going to kill you if you traffic
Every
in something
time.
that kills us. That's right.
Every time.
You're dead. And like I said before, there's all kinds of conversations that the administration is now having with the leaders in Mexico. They're next. It's next. It's on because that is the origin of a lot of this stuff. So it's going to be fun to
worth
watch
that.
what takes place. Maybe not the right word, not fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. Zero tolerance.
I never revel in anybody's death, but when your death prevents our deaths, then yes, get it done.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep.
All right, so President Trump says he is thinking about rolling out. You remember there was some whispers a couple months ago about the $2,000 rebate checks for Americans? And
Yeah,
this is
from the tariffs.
funded
Where
by
is
the
that?
tariffs.
Yeah.
So sounds like it may be back on the table. Would you like a $2,000
I
tariff
would
check?
love it, but
Yeah.
I want to know what are the other things? Like, am I going to have to pay it back? Am I, where is it coming from? Because of course, I want $2,000, but I would also like to put it towards something else that I think could go for
With no
use.
loopholes.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like my question is: are we balancing the budget? Right?
No, we're not.
Let's balance the budget first. Let's try to create a surplus so we don't have a deficit. And add
Exactly,
to this
like
terrible
something
debt.
else that it could go towards.
Yeah. So I don't want to do this at the demise of our country, but I do find it interesting that he says it's bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars. I can just hear him saying billions, but hundreds of billions of dollars are coming in from the tariffs. And I'm looking at it like, hey, instead of giving money back to the people, why don't we pay down
Our debts,
or at least balance our budget
Yes,
with this?
100%. That's what I mean when I say
Yeah.
there are other things it could go towards. Would I love 2,000? Of course, but there are other things that I think it should go to. Responsible things it should go to.
Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan, Chastity Stewart. I got the girls in here talking international stuff. You guys
Look
are
at
killing
you.
it on this. You're all killing it.
On a Monday morning, no
Monday
less.
morning
Well,
international
afternoon,
politic
but yeah.
discussion with Charlie and Chastity. You know what I did like was the $1,776 payments to our military. That was brilliant. And you're talking about a group of people that absolutely
deserve it and
Yep.
more.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that was positive. That was nice. All right, so President Trump is saying by the end of his tenure, the stock market, the Dow Jones Industrial, get this, he's predicting can reach 100,000. So right now it's sitting around. I think it just hit 50 the other day. So he's basically predicting by the
It's
end of
gonna
his
double.
Well, double 3 years, right? So he's got
Okay.
3 more years to do it. That would be absolutely mind blowing. So I wanted to list a couple of things that if he is able to pull this off, if he's able to do it, all the things that he's done. Where did I have these listed? Oh, I may have missed my sheet, but let's just kind of go from memory here. Peace in the Middle East.
Okay.
If he's able to pull off the Russia-Ukraine war,
Yes.
get
That's
that
a big one.
and that start.
That is a big one.
It looks like both sides are maybe going in that right direction.
I want to believe that. Putin, I don't know. But yes.
And the narco trafficking, right? If that can be done, there's a couple other things that I had listed that would be like if he is able to pull these items off, absolutely mind-blowing, not just the president in our history, but mind-blowing direction that he could put our country in. And I think these goals of skyrocketing Dow, money coming back to our citizens, balancing our budget, buying down our debt, these things can begin to happen. If he's able to pull off the Greenland deal, right, which was kind of strange the way that first came off, but if he's able to actually strike a deal that he's wanting to do with Greenland, this is incredible stuff that's taken place in just 1 year.
He is an ambitious man. We'll say that.
No doubt about it.
Say that.
No doubt about it. He gets after it.
Yeah,
no doubt.
yeah.
He likes it. He posted it as, I don't know if this was a social media post. He puts, Trump was right about everything. Yeah, it was a post.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He likes to.
No one is a bigger fan of Trump
boastful.
than Trump,
Yes,
though.
exactly.
And I can tell you who he is not a fan of. He was not a fan of the Bad Bunny.
He is not a
He
fan
came down
of
hard on the Bad
Yes,
Bunny.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Like
missed
right
that.
away too. Like
missed
I think Bad Bunny was still performing and he was like, worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
So no chance. What you're saying
That
is
was
no,
a good voiceover.
that was a good impression.
thanks.
No chance that Trump has a Bad Bunny CD.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
I don't think it's
Definitely
on
not.
his
No.
playlist.
But I bet one of his kids has got him on the playlist. Probably Tiffany. She seems
Yeah.
pretty cool. I bet she's got him on the playlist.
Oh, wouldn't that? Can you imagine if he caught one of the kids? If he caught Barron with Bad Money?
I mean, Barron's
listening to
pretty
his
much
headset.
the only one that he could get mad at. Like, Tiffany doesn't really have much to do, I feel like, with him. Like, at least publicly. I'm sure
Right.
privately
Sure,
they're fine.
yeah.
But the rest of them are all very involved. Ivanka, not so much anymore, but the rest of them are all pretty involved. So I'm
Big
sure
time.
they are aligned with him. But I could see Tiffany. I could see her having like
Rocking
a
to some
little,
Bad Bunny.
yeah, like just
A little
trying
bad
to,
side to her.
yeah.
If she ever got caught, there'd be no Christmas present under the tree this year. No doubt about it. Chastity, what's in store for us tomorrow?
Okay, so for tomorrow, the Marc McMain show, we have Bubba Longyear.
Longer, yep. He's running
Longer.
for state superintendent of schools.
And then, I've been saying this name over and over, Chuck Studebaker.
Chuck Studebaker, the coolest last name
I know.
ever. Chuck Studebaker.
I know, I love that.
I can't help but think of the old 1950s
Yeah.
Studebaker.
And then your good friend, Mr. Mitch Swan.
So I've saved a
yes.
bunch of
Fun.
stuff for
Yes.
Mitch here because I got some more deep stuff and I didn't dare break it out on y'all because I don't
Yeah,
want
it
y'all
would be
to-
wasted if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. It would be wasted.
I don't want y'all to cross your wires, so I'm saving some stuff for Mitch.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. What do you got rest of the week, Charlie?
What do I have the
I'm
rest
sure
of
you're
the
coaching
week?
something or
Soccer, yes. I have been roped into assistant coaching my 9-year-old soccer team. So, yeah,
Are
we
you a
got
tough
that going
coach?
on. No, I am a killer team mom. Not a great coach. I'm a good assistant coach. I'm good at assisting
Okay,
coaching.
yeah.
But I am a killer team mom. But got
So
some.
everybody gets snacks, gummy
I'm
bears.
yeah, goodie bags. All about the goodie bags, like little fun snack bags,
yes.
monogram everything. Like that's my
that.
MO.
I could see that.
I could
yeah,
see that too.
PTO stuff. That's
I
all I
love
got this
it.
week.
I love
Valentine's.
So you're
week.
not out there screaming at the kids, run harder.
Absolutely not. No, I'm like, you did your best.
Give
You get a juice box.
Yes, yes.
Suicides. Let's go.
Nope, that's not me.
I couldn't see her doing that either.
Well, lots of fun. I appreciate you stepping in with us today,
Thank you,
Charlie.
thank
It's
you,
always
thank
good.
you.
Yep,
Thank you.
good. Chastity, great job again today, as always on the
Thank
boards.
you.
I guess you got a little something for the place on the way out of town.
So we're going to play some Whosoever South.
Yeah.
Stop Paving Dirt Roads.
That's a good song.
It's such a good song.
Yeah. And that means something here.
Yep.
We're just a
Love
dirt
it.
road country station.
I love it. I love it.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow at noon, y'all. Stay safe.